I give you a really important video, probably one of the most requested videos, positional ranking videos. You guys love these. I love these, and this is long overdue. We're here to rank the top 10 running backs for 2024. We'll do a little bit of a dynasty spin and dig into this from a dynasty angle, like what fork in the road Christian McCaffrey drops off, how far down, etc., etc. We'll have that conversation. We'll open the phone lines after. But this is live. This is not a premiere. This is a live stream. Peanut butter and wafers in the building, or peanut butter and jelly. Blackbeard in the building, my boy. Randoms in the house. Appreciate you guys. Drop those lightning bolt emojis for Kyren Williams. Top 10 running backs. Ranking video begins right now. File on in. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
No. This is not a breaking news show. I know some of you are wondering what news broke. Smitty's live again, but we don't always go live on breaking news. Sometimes we go live on a topic that needs to be discussed. This is one of the most requested topics we ever get here on the channel, and that's a ranking video, a positional ranking video, and I'm here to do it live. Top 10 running backs for 2024. I think it goes without saying that I'm a big Bijan Robinson believer. I thought this guy could be the number one running back last year. A lot of us did. I don't feel like a fool. I feel like a person that got cheated and robbed out of a rookie year experience. And I think Bijan probably feels the same way. Watching this guy have amass over 2,000 total yards, 15 total touchdowns, become one of the best PPR backs in the National Football League. And instead of watching him flourish and be amazing, and he still was at the end of the day, Bijan had, top 9 running back numbers and production while being completely misused, while being essentially a backup regulated to third string when it comes to goal line carries in Atlanta last year. This was a debacle, an embarrassment, and he still cranked out top 9 running back numbers. And he had a couple of those games where the migraine game, the other game where he didn't even do anything, and he still was number 9 out of all fantasy football running backs. This is a man that has been given Kirk Cousins. This is a man that will enable Drake London and Kyle Pitts to then enable Bijan Robinson further. It's pulling and stretching the defense out by having Kirk Cousins survive differently in this offense, or thrive differently versus survive for Ridder. Ridder was surviving. And Cousins is going to open things up. Cousins doesn't even have to be a top 5 quarterback necessarily to stretch things out and give Bijan Robinson room to run. Also, for those that don't know, Zach Robinson is the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. This was the mastermind, the QB coordinator over an LAR, commanding like a monster that Rams passing attack. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams to a degree, getting used to using one running back, having Kyren in the game at all times when he had to deploy and architect the passing attack. So ask me if Zach Robinson's used to one running back being in his lineup. Yeah, the answer is yes. I'll answer it for you. So I believe, there won't be taking him off the field to any significant degree. I believe this is your goal line back. I also believe we'll probably, like the Godwin example I always give you many years back, Chris Godwin, 6th, 7th round pick. I loved him. I created videos on him. He's going to win you leagues in round 6 and 7. And then the offensive coordinator comes out and says, Chris Godwin, attention, I've got a bold prediction. We're like, what's he going to say? Chris Godwin's going to catch 100 passes. Everybody just panicked, drafted him all the way up to round 3. He exploded and played better than that. One small comment. We've been jonesing for Bijan production for over a year now. One small comment, like He's going to have 2,000 total yards. He's already said that. I'm going to rush for 2,000 yards. That was a great comment. But what we need from him is a coaching comment. We're worried. We have PTSD. Are they going to feed him? Are they going to feed him? We all feel that way, right? All we need is one comment from Zach Robinson from any part of this coaching staff, okay? Any part of it. And for those that don't know what's going on in terms of the coaching trees, I've got that right here for you. Here's your Atlanta Falcons team right here. Offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. Head coach, Raheem Morris. Leader of men. Anybody that thinks Raheem Morris is just a defensive mind, you don't know about this guy and where he's come from. And I don't care what success he's had as a head coach earlier. This guy right here is an absolute marvel. And this unit right here, this two-man unit coming over from the Rams situation, this man Morris had the backing of everybody from top to bottom from this organization. When I tell you that the Falcons interviewed everybody and talked to everybody around Morris from the top level down, from the brass to McVay to the players, all of them, instead of being selfish and saying, we'd like to keep him, he's good, he's okay, he's awesome, he's okay, they went to bat for him. He's such a high character guy. Raheem Morris could arguably be coach of the year in 2024. Arguably be coach of the year. And this is DeMeco Ryans right here. This is the Houston Texans right here. This is a Slowick, and you have, like, in Detroit, you have an OC that's absolutely phenomenal, and Ben Johnson mixed with a coach that gets it done. You can say what you want about Detroit and decision making. All that is still a great pecking order and still a great absolute beast of a coaching unit. And you're looking at a double right here, a double-decker right here in Zach Robinson, OC and LAR last year for the Rams. You're looking at Raheem Morris, defensive mind last year in LAR, coming together to make an absolute conglomerate. And then we sit here and we say, okay, they're coming over, new regime, but where's the quarterback? Kirk Cousins enters the picture. Understand when I say this. Bijan Robinson's going to have wide open lanes receiving, wide open lanes rushing. He'll be all over the field. And while Bijan, who came out a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, and said, I'm going to run for 2,000 yards, while we don't think he's necessarily running for 2,000 yards, why? He could, but he'll be busy catching 500-600 receiving yards. He'll be busy being a different balance of talent that Zach Robinson had in that Rams organization, in that Rams offense, and he's going to get it in form of a running back, right? So you have Cooper Kupp, you have Puka Nacua, you have Kyren Williams. Well, now you have, ladies and gentlemen, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You have arguably better talent in a sense given to this man, with the quarterback that can gunsling as easily as good as Stafford for this man, Zach Robinson. Bijan Robinson is going to lead the league in total yards. Bijan Robinson is going to lead the league in total touchdowns. My next man up, number 2 overall, is going to lead the league in rushing yards and rushing TDs. But Bijan will lead the league in total touchdowns and total yards. He's doing it live. He's my number 1 player, my number 1 running back in fantasy football 2024, and I don't apologize to anyone. This is a monster. This is a machine. This is my number 1 running back 2024. Do it live, standing ovation style.
Let's go, mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go over the rest of these guys. Let me see if I can put this around the guy I'm talking about so you guys understand what time it is. So Bijan Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. My number 2 running back, it looks like we got a $20 hauler, and my number 2 running back right here, Kyren Williams. Let's address that right after Rick Moore gets his super chat love right here. Just got home from your Phoenix. Raheem to the moon. Raheem Morris to the moon. Rick, I appreciate you. Rick, we need you here, pal. more often. Not just super chatting. I'm not going to lie. They're nice, but we need you here for the comments, the phone calls. Call in a little bit if you can. Rick Moore to the moon. Rick Moore?
To the moon.
Super chat.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
My boy Rick Moore. Rick Moore to the moon. Appreciate you, my broski. Okay, back. Here we are. And now we're discussing a little man we like to call Lightning Bolt Kyren. Lightning Bolt Kyren, who does it live like no other player in the National Football League. Why do I say that? Well, let's just pull up something and see if we can throw some numbers on screen. And real quickly, if we go back to Bijan Robinson, this absolute monster, from a dynasty perspective, I'm just going to say it right now. Nothing changes. This is the number one running back in fantasy football dynasty. You could argue Gibbs. You can argue Breece Hall. I'm all for that. You know, obviously, you twisted my arm just a little bit to get me to go in either direction. Let's make that abundantly clear. The top 5 is so close, especially in redraft. The top 4 is absolutely neck and neck and neck and neck. Just 4 necks in a row. If there was a race, it would literally be a photo finish, and we'd have to zoom in, pitch and zoom until we couldn't zoom anymore and try and find out which head is across the finish line, because it's neck and neck and neck and neck. All four. Bijan Robinson, this monster in the making, this absolute force, is the number one dynasty running back, arguably number one dynasty overall player, because he's just getting going. He's going to have about 4 or 5 elite top 1 to 5 running back seasons, and he's just glorious is what he is. And he's also, if anybody didn't know, a Saturn man.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for
Saturn. Bijan, look at him. Gee, these guys are all familiar. We got Breece Hall.
Spaceman.
We got Kyren. Kyren Williams. Good Lord, people. This man is just an absolute gem. All these guys are gems. They really are. And I find it kind of odd that people even have any doubts. Thanks again, Rick. Appreciate you. Have any doubts whatsoever when it comes to trying to evaluate Kyren Williams, because a lot of people will say some silly stuff, some really ridiculous stuff like, hey, Smitty, Kyren has low draft capital. They're not going to want him for the long term. And LAR McVay's going to break him. He's too injury prone. The injury concern's really the only leg any doubting Kyren Williams owner can stand on. Why can they stand on that? Well, his rookie year. And I'll admit this. I'm totally transparent about my Kyren Williams predictions and what I've said. You won't find a single analyst higher on him walking into his rookie year. I had videos on it, video after video, talking about him taking over the job and taking it from a healthy at the time Cam Akers, that he was going to rip the job from him. He got hurt. And because of that, I didn't have, and I'm pissed at myself, I didn't have the, I don't know, you could say cojones at the time to double down on Kyren again walking in, and I let it influence me a little bit. I was a little burnt by it. We got to be careful with that with running backs like Bijan, who have a bad year comparatively to the expectation level, and not let it influence or make you upset, like the Breece Hall injury. We didn't let that bother us. Jameer Gibbs' landing spot, they drafted him too early, that Montgomery's there. You don't let that influence. You got to be very careful not to let certain things influence you. And I made the mistake of not sticking to my guns, and I didn't have high preseason hopes for Kyren last year, taking accountability for that. But no one liked this man better than I did walking into his rookie year. So this didn't come out of nowhere, okay? So this isn't a guy that happened to fall into a bunch of production and now we like him because he's on the map. This was a guy that I said target, that I loved, that he looked fantastic, and then he got hurt. Now, he got hurt also again last year and only played 12 games. And I get that there's concern there. That means he missed 13, 14, 15, 16. That means he missed 5 games for those of you that went to college. And it doesn't mean that he's injury prone, but you certainly don't have the soundest argument to say that, oh, he's definitely not getting hurt. You have to be objective and say, hopefully he's doing the things he needs, and it looks like he is, by the way, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Hopefully he's doing the things he needs to stay healthy, be aggressive, work on staying healthy, bulking up, being able to handle the workload. The one thing I'll say to a naysayer of the man known as Lightning Bolt Kyren is that Kyren Williams, by the way, let me show you something on Kyren's forehead or on the bridge of his nose. If anybody doubts a man that has what looks like a God-given birthmark of a lightning bolt on the bridge of his nose, or he was struck by lightning and this is the remnants on the bridge of his nose, little bit of damage in the form of a lightning bolt. Either way, we don't know the true origin of the lightning bolt. Was it birthmark? Was it lightning strike? We don't know. We don't really care. Either way, he's going to the moon. And if you doubt this man because of anything, and you don't let that lightning bolt sway you back, you're on your own. And not only am I going to take away your Kyren card, I'm going to take away your Bijan card as well, because there's no excuse whatsoever to doubt a man that has a lightning bolt on the bridge of his mother freaking nose.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Back to a serious note. This is why you should really love Kyren.
He's Kyren, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
This man had a pace of 21 touchdowns on his 12 games. If you extrapolate 12 games and he played the 5 and he played 17 games, he scored 21 touchdowns in that scenario. But even if we say, let's not play stupid extrapolation games, that's dangerous, Smitty. We don't know. He didn't play them. Let's not add numbers to numbers that aren't there. Okay, Bob, how many games did he play? Well, he played 12, Smitty. He played 12. Okay, how many rushing touchdowns did he have? Well, 12. So he averaged a rushing touchdown per game. Well, yeah, 12 games, 12 touchdowns, that makes sense. Okay, how many total touchdowns did he have? Well, he had 3 more receiving touchdowns in that 12 games, so he had 15. Well, yeah, he played 12 games, but he missed 5. He played 12 games, had 15 touchdowns, but he missed 5 games, Smitty. I'm really concerned. And McVay's going to break him. There's your argument. That's all you have. That's all you have. I get it. Extrapolate 16-20 on the ground. Extrapolate 21 touchdowns instead of 15. Extrapolate 291, 45 receptions. I could see an uptick in that too. Extrapolate to 17 games. Running back number 2. Behind only Christian McCaffrey and by a small amount. Like less than a fantasy game. Like 20 to 25 points roughly. That they were apart. And they were the top 2 running backs in the National Football League if you extrapolate the data. This man is going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. He had 12 in 12 games. He had 15 total. He's going to lead the league in rushing yards. Give him 1,450 to 1,500 yards on the ground. The guy's pulling a sled 100 yards down the field over and over and over on Instagram. This guy's working harder than any running back I can find footage on. He's determined. And for anybody that says draft capital makes him risky, no, it doesn't. It did. But once you get it exceed a certain point and you become the guy and you escape free agency, without a running back being added to the roster like Barkley, Henry, or Jacobs, and you look at the rookie running back pool, which is the most mediocre we've seen in a long time, and you say to yourself, Who won the offseason? It might be Kyren Williams. What player benefited the most from the offseason? Maybe it's Kyren Williams. It very well could be Kyren Williams. I'm not worried at all. Let's go. Let's ride. Kyren to the moon. Kyren to Saturn. Kyren is a Saturn man extraordinaire. Do it live. Smitty approved.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Who's number 3, Smitty? They're so good. And look, to be honest with you, it's so hard. Like, what am I going to do? How do I keep passing on McCaffrey? You know, the upside is tremendous. He could be the number 1 running back again, but he's also 28 years old. How do I pass on Breece Hall? He wasn't even dialed up for a lot of production until after month number 1 last year as he came back from his ACL tear. And he still finishes a top 4 to 5 running back, depending on your scoring. Running back 4. How do we ignore Gibbs as the number 3, or even 2, or even 1 when he really has the potential, the speed, the offense is fantastic? But is Monty going away? And there's all kinds of things to worry about. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be good? He's 28 years old? I don't feel like there's any risk here to the same level. That's why Bijan and Kyren are 2 and 1 and 1 and 2. Because I feel like there's a little bit. That's the only thing I could come up with. But by all means, I could literally say, slap me in the face one time, distract me, change my attention, and all of a sudden I go, okay, let's rank these guys. Christian McCaffrey number 1, Kyren 2, Bijan 3. Slap me again, change my attention, just clap your hands really hard, and just change my outlook and my attention span, and all of a sudden I'm re-ranking these guys differently again. Put Hall 1, put Kyren 2, Breece Hall. This is like splitting hairs, okay? Somebody's got to be chosen to be 1. Somebody's got to be chosen to be 2. Does somebody have to be chosen to be 3? Not necessarily. I could pull an old Tyroo right here, and I think I'll do that with Breece Hall. I'm sorry, I just gave away. Well, you already know. Breece Hall. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Let's put Breece Hall 3. We'll make these guys tie. We'll make Christian McCaffrey and Gibbs tie. Breece Hall's number 3 overall, standalone. Breece Hall 3, standalone. Why do I feel that way? Because I love him. Because he's also 8 feet tall.
Breece Hall.
Get Breece.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a whole of a job. A whole of a job. A whole of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon. Get Breece.
He does such a hell of a job. The concern here, why these guys almost tie for 3rd, to be honest with you, is kind of where I was almost going to head. And I'm doing this live on the fly. Like, this is literally, I'm ranking these guys on the fly. I'm kind of thinking these are all tied for 3rd, but I got to pick, right? I don't want to be wishy-washy here. I'm going to put Breece Hall at 3, and I'm going to say that he is so dynamic and explosive. And he's the most, I believe, capable of exploding from last year's numbers based on the offense improving. You know? And I think if you give Breece Hall even more receptions, you give him a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and that's my concern why he's not 1 or 2. Because what if A-Rod goes down? If he goes down, we still saw Breece Hall finish as running back 4. So it's not like he can't survive. But if Aaron Rodgers goes down, that's the one like caveat here. But if he doesn't go down, Aaron Jones, he fed Aaron Jones for a long time. And what an amazing offense this is going to be. They've already retooled some of the offensive line. People have been making offensive line jokes all offseason. Like, haven't you paid attention? They also, the moment Aaron Rodgers steps under center with his quick release, the offensive line production improves immediately anyway. That's like, it's almost the equivalent of adding a brand new right tackle. To put Aaron Rodgers instead of Zach Wilson in that offense, the defense that's crowding on Zach Wilson to just rattle him, destroy him, backs up with Aaron Rodgers out there. Because guess what? Steps back, you crowd him, quick release, knifes you apart. Aaron Rodgers still has ability, and he's very intelligent, and he's not going to allow you to just crowd him constantly and just stack the box and get crazy up in this mug. Like, Breece Hall is going to see more room than he did last year because they've improved the offensive line. But in conjunction, they've improved everything by just having a quick release Aaron Rodgers, productive guy on the field that can stretch the field. On top of that, riddle me this. What players are going to benefit from the new rules, shorter field, getting the ball more frequently? The playmakers. And I believe Breece Hall, because the end zone's going to be a whole lot closer, Breece Hall is going to rip off probably a few more long runs than normal. He's going to have more space to work. He's not going to be pinned down inside the 10 or 15 and then the team's making bad play calls to try and get out of that spot, punt it away. This team will be in good field position always, and his reception totals will go up surprisingly. He was so productive from a PPR perspective last year. Him and Bijan are going to just take the league by storm in the PPR department. These are the two PPR monsters right here. I'm not saying he can't be if he stays healthy, but these guys are absolute monsters. And God, Breece Hall is going to go to the moon. He's a Saturn man for a reason.
The Saturn Man.
Look at him.
One small step for man, one giant leap.
Saturn.
Saturn.
Look at him.
Spaceman.
I'm sorry. I told you I would hit these super chats immediately when they came in. And Skyward, I'm sorry. Skyward, you're still here, right? $10 hauler gets a moonshot. Skyward, appreciate you
To the moon.
dropping that fire. Skyward says, Smitty, hey Smitty, got a second in my. I got second in my league thanks to you. Why is Swift so undervalued? He had 1K yards and finished running back 17 on a team where his TDs got stolen. Feel like he's a 6th round pick and 4th round value in Chicago. I don't know. I would say that I'm torn on this one because I believe that I don't know that Chicago is going to use him right, and I don't trust Chicago at all. So I'm kind of in agreement that he's not worth the 4th, but maybe a 5th or 6th I'd take a stab here or there, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. And I also believe that he's not built to be a workhorse between the tackles, and that kind of volume can put him at risk. And the Eagles abused the hell out of him last year, and so I kind of feel like they took this car that is fresh off the lot, like the dealer took it out and decided to drive it for a year. And he just was abusing the hell out of it, running over curbs. Then he brings it back to the dealership, and then they try and sell it. And I feel like whoever gets it's not getting a 2-year-old car. They're getting what kind of is like a 3.5-year-old car in that context because of how he was utilized and abused. So I'm not necessarily in disagreement with the ADP on DeAndre Swift. Maybe a 6th rounder, like I said, in a couple leagues, but I definitely don't feel like he's a 4th rounder. Skyward, I appreciate you. And Swift was a big breakout of ours last year. And we landed that one, by the way. We landed it. We landed it. Breece Hall, you are number 3. You are Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Dynasty mode activated.
Dynasty mode real quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just say this. Hall moves to 2. Gibbs moves to 3. Kyren and Gibbs, well, Gibbs and Kyren 3 together. JT moves up above CMC, etc. You know, HA moves up above CMC probably. But the real movement here, look, Kyren's still there. I just, you know, I love Breece Hall so much. And the injury concern that I admit I'm objective about it. And the concerns people have for him this year, I don't. But maybe longer term, I consider it more is all. I still have him as a top 5 dynasty running back. And to put this in perspective, I would give up the 1.2 rookie pick in a millisecond in any rookie draft for Kyren Williams. So I've had a couple, hey, Smitty, in my league, you can't pick up anybody, and Kyren was never drafted, and he's a free agent in the rookie pool. Where do you slot him? This is a common question I get, so I think this might help some of you that have this exact scenario. It's weird, but I understand it. I've heard it a lot. You just couldn't pick up anybody. So Kyren Williams in a rookie draft is 1.1 or 1.2. I'd probably put MHJ slightly above him, longevity, but I wouldn't even put another receiver or anybody else above him. I'd put Kyren at 1.2, and I'd trade any 1.2 for Kyren Williams. That's how much I love him in Dynasty. But I do move Hall to 2. I move Gibbs and Kyren. I probably move Gibbs above Kyren, but Gibbs and Kyren are right there. Christian McCaffrey falls out of the top 5. That's my Dynasty mode activated little pep talk. Now we get to number 4 overall, and this is where I haven't done this yet. I feel like I haven't. I've definitely been good. I haven't done any wishy-washy stuff. I'm gonna change this to a tie because I can't put Gibbs 5. I can't do it. He's got it. He's almost tied with Hall. I almost want to put Gibbs and Hall tied and Christian McCaffrey in that 4th or 5th spot really. But let's leave it the way it is. This is how I felt at the time. The wind was blowing a certain way, but it's starting to blow another way. Like, that's how volatile this is. This is real. You talk to a Excel sheet Eric content creator. Yeah, I mean, my running backs, I did him in July, and it's August, and he doesn't change them. Or the crazy complaining Christopher that will come into my live stream in October and get really mad at me that I no longer like one of my moon men. Smitty, we drafted based on your advice. It's really frustrating that I come in October and you no longer like the guy that you told me to draft in every league, and you don't stand by your word, as if adjusting and adapting isn't the mantra of this channel. If you think adjusting and adapting isn't a mantra you should live by in every single fantasy football environment, I've got a bridge to sell you. And I also think you need to take a little knowledge from the fantasy football college on this. Adjusting and adapting is what separates the boys and the men in fantasy football. And if you don't understand that, if you think you stick to your July and August predictions in October like clockwork because that makes you a man, or that makes you some sort of amazing, accurate, you stick by your guns analyst, or that if I change and don't like this guy in October and I didn't like this guy and now I like him, kind of like Eckler. Stay away from Eckler, stay away from Eckler. He was kind of an attractive buy. Didn't work out last year, but there are worlds where avoid. Okay, now he's free. Maybe take a stab. Kelsey, this year, maybe we draft him and then we sell him by week 4. We like him to draft him maybe, but then we sell him by week 4 or week 5. Maybe we go after a player like a rookie, like Jonathan Brooks. Don't draft him. People are going to draft him too high. Then if he doesn't get in there for a while, we buy him low. That's the nature of fantasy football. Like, understand what we're doing here. Understand what we're talking here. The wind blows, it changes. Tomorrow I could have Gibbs locked in at number 4. Right now, I can in good conscience put Gibbs 3 over Hall. I could put him as a tie. I can't put CMC 5th, but I can't put Gibbs 5th. They're tied. Let me see if I have any Gibbs. Here we go. This guy. Gibbs to the moon.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
Smitty, you talk about Gibbs a lot. Can you give me just a little bit of factual data? Smitty, you don't seem like the kind of guy that actually has data and stats and all that. I'm often coined as I know you don't like stats, Smitty. I go live. This is my 3rd live stream today. We're breaching probably 7 hours of live streaming today on a Sunday. There's no possible way a human being can have stats the entire time. I pull up stats all the time. I don't think people appreciate the stats I pull up and talk about when you think about how long I'm alive. The amount of stats I crank out and talk about per amount of time I'm live is probably actually pretty high. I'm just live all the time. So people think this guy, because I can rant and rave and impromptu all day long. Other people literally have a call sheet or a content sheet. Like I go on doing an interview on another channel. People are like, Smitty, come on this channel, and they'll give me a sheet. I'm like, I'm not reading a sheet. Tell me when the live stream is. I'll click the button and come in. Like, I don't have time to prepare for a show. I don't. I'll prepare for some of this stuff, and then, I'll collect it over a course of time. The stats are always on screen. We're always talking stats. We're always talking about algorithms. And I got an algorithm for you right now. This algorithm that I put together over the course of the offseason explains exactly why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back. Exactly. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara.
Smitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara?
I don't ever want to hear that we don't have stats or algorithms ever again on these players. I just showed you why. 2023, this man, Gibbs, was running back 10. Oh, really, Smitty? He didn't get going till later in the season. Running back 10, 11 touchdowns, 945 rushing, 10 rushing touchdowns on the ground, 5.2 a carry, 52 receptions, 316 and 1 score. 11 tutties is Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty.
Not being used all season long is Smitty approved when you have 11 tutties.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Having this kind of stat line on a short season is Smitty approved. Do you remember when people would come into my live stream week 4, week 3, week 5 and say, I can't believe you, Smitty. I'm unfollow Steve here. Unfollow Freddie is here to tell you I drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in round 3 and now my season's over. I blame you. Thank you very much. I'm out of here. I don't trust the process. See you later, Smitty. You're nothing but a hack. This man exploded. This man proved every doubter wrong. And everybody that drafted him in round 3 had a greater chance of winning their championship because of it. And now we look at a stat line that your boy's cranking out as a very, very, very bland, safe Stevie type of projection. 2024, 1,100 rushing yards, 5.5 a carry, 12 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving touchdowns, 16 total scores, 70 receptions for 510. I give you a top 3 running.
You've just been.
Now, Smitty, he's top 3. Why do you have him 4th? Don't worry about that. We've got 6 top 5 running backs. We got 4 top 3 running backs. We got 2 top 1 running backs. We always have 1 extra. Okay? That's just the nature. Gibbs, how do you deny what he's done? How do you deny what Christian McCaffrey's done? How do you deny what either of these guys has done? I don't even need to go over Christian McCaffrey. He had the best running back season last year of all running backs. The only running back he wouldn't have crushed was Kyren if Kyren had played 17 games. As I showed you earlier, Kyren ran for 12 touchdowns on the ground, caught 3, scored 15 on 12 games, would have had 21 total touchdowns if he played a full season. This man had an absolutely marvelous year, but he got banged up. He also Look, he did. It is what it is. I'm not trying to rip on McCaffrey, but he crapped the bed in week 17, got injured, and yeah, we worried about, okay, what's this look like in the playoffs, because then we can worry about 2024 if he doesn't play healthy. But he did. He got healthy again, so it's confusing, and we're having to speculate here. We're having to try and predict, does McCaffrey, who's 28 years old, does McCaffrey, who's 28 years old this year, drop off even a little bit or all the way, or just get injured? Because Aaron Jones was 28. He couldn't stay healthy. It didn't even matter that he still looked really good. I have very little hope that Aaron Jones stays healthy in Minnesota. He was 28 years old, couldn't stay healthy. Alvin Kamara in the same boat as McCaffrey, coming out of the year prior to the 28-year-old season, the 27-year-old season. So this was going into last year. Eckler had in 2022, the season prior to this past year we played, was electric. Best year that we've seen in a long time. Everyone and their mother loved him. I said he's 28, watch out, don't draft him. Everybody said, well, not everybody, a lot of people did, but Smitty, he looked amazing. Why do you think drop-off? He's not close to a drop-off. He catches a lot of balls. He's got low mileage in the grand scheme of things. He's 28. He's 28. Fell off the face of the earth. Fell off the face of the earth. It happens to everybody. There was a day where Emmitt Smith for the Cardinals. The Cardinals get guys when they're already run down and over. Emmitt Smith, it was so painful to watch him play football at the end, and he couldn't get any room to run. Adrian Peterson, the Cardinals also got Adrian Peterson after his prime, and watching him not break free was very painful. Adrian Peterson was every bit as good as McCaffrey when you really break it down. It happens. It happens. Now, Adrian Peterson's 75 years old, and he's trying to play football still. So he's one of the old school guys that played a long time. 28's the new 30. There's a real chance. I have him in my top 5. He's tied for 4th. Clearly, I'm banking on him doing well enough to put him in my top 5, people. But there's enough caution here to say don't do it in every league. Don't start passing on these guys. He's 28. The risk is very high. 4th overall makes it likely that you still get your value. If he missed 4 games, let's say in the middle of the year, he's so explosive. The supplementing of another player into the lineup anyway, mixed with McCaffrey's 12 games, would, like Kyren, give you this amazing running back regardless of the missed time, right? That's why McCaffrey still lingers at number 4. At least 5. He's in the top 5. But he's 28. Eckler, 28. Aaron Jones, 28. Alvin Kamara, 28. And started off, with the suspension and everything. Did really well. 28 is the kiss of death. Don't use Derrick Henry as an example. He's an outlier that can never help you determine this kind of stuff. It's just an outlier. You can't explain it. Is McCaffrey an outlier? Maybe. And can he play well at 28? Yeah, he could. 28 is the hold your breath year. You can do well at 28. It's just really hard to do. At 29, it's really no. The answer is no. At 28, maybe. At 28. That's why these guys are tied here. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tied. 4, 5. Who's number 6? I'm going to go to you guys to see what you think. I've got my grouping here that I believe's inside my top 9. I don't even have my 10th one prepared yet. But where do you guys see number 6 going in redraft? In Dynasty? Just to get back to Dynasty.
Dynasty mode activated.
McCaffrey falls out of the top 5. Again, Kyren goes to tied with Gibbs. Maybe Gibbs goes 3rd. Hall goes 2. Bijan's 1. Kyren's okay. We'll go Bijan, Hall, Gibbs, Kyren. Christian McCaffrey's out of the top 5. Who is next on your list? Who is next on your list? Drop it. I want to see it. I'm going to drag it on the screen. Prime says JT. Donnie says Saquon. Donnie says Saquon. He says, give me Saquon. Here's my 6 to 9. I know you're going to say, where's ETN? ETN's maybe going to be 10. I don't know yet. We're going to have to dig for number 10. I don't have number 10 ready. This is live. This is not cooked up ahead of time. This is raw processing in front of you. Genuine, raw ranking show. I don't do this prepared BS. We go live and you watch me struggle. Okay? You watch me struggle. God, I think Saquon's going to go crazy. I'm going to go Saquon number 6. I'm going to go JT number 7. I'm going to go... Jeez, man. Jacobs and Achane tied for 8. That's my top 9. I haven't given you my 10. That's my top 9. So let me go ahead and put these here. So this is going to be 6. Barkley 6. It's so tough between Barkley and Jacobs, though. And not having Achane, look, there's just a factor of, I really think he can definitely be in the mix, but Achane's more of the be smart about it and hope that you get like top 4 value, and don't get too cute and think that don't get too cute and think that you can overdraft him and not account for some of the risk level that he does come with, because Achane does come with a certain risk level that you got to bake into it. So tied for 8. This would be 8T, and 8T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gibbs and McCaffrey. 6, 7, 8, 8. So 8, 9. I don't know who my 10 is, to be honest with you. Barkley, I think, just gets fed. Barkley's in an amazing offense. I love Kellen Moore's now the offensive coordinator. When they lost Shane Steichen to the Colts, the Eagles fell apart. They didn't have the right pieces in place to recover from that, to recoup, to retool, and now they do. You could rip on Kellen Moore for his failings in the Chargers, situation last year, or you can say he did amazing things in Dallas, and I believe you see that replicated in a very similar talent pool in Philly. Dallas, I think Philly's got more talent than Dallas does. I think Philly's got a way better quarterback. Philly's got a better RB by a mile. Philly's got better wide receivers sum total, even if Lamb's may be better than A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith individually. One could argue that A.J. Brown's as good. Both of those guys, and Goddard. Now you have Barkley here. You have offensive line. You have tush push. I don't care if Kelsey's gone. They still got tush push. They're still doing that thing. This offense is dangerous. And I don't think Barkley gets vultured as much as you think, because there's a lot to go around, and this is also a shorter field. And as I said, shorter field's going to benefit certain players. Barkley feels like that guy. Barkley could lead the league in rushing. I have that going to Kyren, but Barkley's going to be in the conversation at the table, having a cup of coffee with Kyren for the rushing title. Very, very possible. We just saw the Eagles abuse DeAndre Swift between the tackles. You don't think they're going to run the hell out of Saquon Barkley, who I have with the blue color, and he should be green? That's on me. I take that L. That's my fault. I'm sorry. There it is. I fix it. I'm so used to seeing him in a blue. Barkley going crazy at number 6 overall. JT, love the undervalued 7 overall value. There's nothing disrespectful about that. These are all monsters everywhere. Everyone on the screen is in some way, shape, or form a monster. But look at JT's value. What a screaming steal he is. It doesn't mean we're missing the boat on him. We're not sleeping on him at all. It's just, Barkley, JT, Gibbs, CMC. How do you decide that? Achane, again, Jacobs feels a little safer. Like you could almost say 8 and 9. I want to put Achane on a level of respect here and say Achane and Jacobs are tied. But this is safer going Jacobs. Clearly, he's getting so much volume. It's such a good offense. Love's going to feed this guy. The Packers are going to feed this guy. He's a fresh, younger, reset version of Aaron Jones. It's going to be glorious. This guy could lead the league in yards per carry. He could have 15 touchdowns if he wanted to. And the only reason he would be here and packaged it with a little bit more risk, right? You're going to cost of entry. He's got to factor in the risk, is because he's definitely not in control of the amount of volume that these other guys are. It doesn't mean it's not going to be there, though, at the end of the day. So these are my running backs. This is I never felt more solid about a top 9 running back ranking. The question is, who's 10? How do we top this off? How do I top off this bad boy right here? If I go to rankings, if I go to thefantasyfootballshow.com, which is where you can find my year-round fantasy football rankings, and I take a gander and just look at some RBs, it's like Derrick Henry, ETN, Rashad White, Pacheco, Kenneth Walker. It really is kind of a grab bag. I'd probably say Henry. How does this guy continue to do it? If not for just pure touchdown volume, like maybe he only has 10-12 on the ground, 10-50, 10-90, 1,100 even, which is a lot of yards considering. But like 10-90 and 15 scores, they throw to him a little more. He's in a new environment. We don't know. He's a good pass catcher. They just never threw to him. Tennessee just continued to say, let's ignore the fact that this guy is actually a damn good pass catcher. When in open field, no one brings him down. Yeah, it's either ETN or Henry. ETN or Henry or ETN. I want it to be Walker. I do. One nice word out of Ryan Grubb and that whole situation in Seattle, and I'll move Walker. I'll be the one to walk Walker straight to the top.
Kenneth Skywalker. Kenneth Lightsaber swinging Skywalker.
When I say top, I don't mean the top of this. I mean to the top of this group we're talking about right now. Walker, I love. I want it to be Walker. Let's be smart about it. And you can get him so much later. Henry's a little dangerous because he's 85 years old, but the touchdown volume's there. We saw Gus Bus have multiple touchdowns like it was nothing. I think they want to use Henry. I don't know if he stays healthy all year, but you couple him with another replacement, couple rookies, get Jonathan Brooks for later in case Henry goes down later, get Braylon Allen if he's in Dallas or something, and then now you got this 3-headed monster that you put Henry in, and if you need to supplement, you supplement, and you score top 5-6 running back numbers with that supplementation and 17 individual starts in your running back 2 slot. I'm going to say Henry. I'm going to say ETN's right there. And I'm going to say that's my top 10. And that's all she wrote there. Phone lines are open.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We got this one. We have could be Gus Edwards. It could be, but it's not. But I do appreciate you, John. I think it's Henry. I think it's Henry. If I'm going to put somebody on screen, I'm just going to paste it here and say King Henry. I mean, who's going to doubt him? You know, why doubt him at this point? You know, just give him his flowers. He deserves to be here. He deserves to be part of this game. This is my top 10 running backs. And please understand that ties are why you don't see certain numbers, right? So that's the nature of ties. It takes out an option. So number 10 is Derrick Henry. You could say 10 ETN tied with Henry. 1, Bijan. 2, Kyren. 3, Breece Hall. 4 and 5 are tied. Jahmyr Gibbs and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey and Gibbs. That's tied for number 4 and 5. For number 4. Number 6 is Barkley. JT 7. Achane and Jacobs tied at 8. So that's your 8 and 9. Jacobs and Achane. Derrick Henry 10. Yeah, buddies. That is. Tell me there's no better. There's no better top 10 running back show out there. This is live. This is in person. This is spitballing. This is digesting live. This is vulnerable. This is potentially movable. I could argue with myself all day long. I could move Gibbs ahead of McCaffrey right this very second. I'm not a keep it exactly where it is, Freddie. It just doesn't, he's afraid of everything. Fragile Freddie. I can't move anything. I already said it. People are going to make fun of me. I think JT sees a lot of stacked boxes, says Sick Nasty. Nothing too exciting. Isaac enjoying 70s and 80s in Minnesota. Is it 70 right now there in Minnesota, perps? Dial on in. Let's have a discussion about this. Does anybody feel like it? It's okay if you have a player in a different spot. It's okay if you do. Regurgitation as far as what, H? As far as your comments, or or do you have something you're talking about or referencing? Because you're doing one word conversations and no one knows what you're saying. No way CMC is number 1 on the field. On the bench, yes, agreed, Brandon. That's what Perp said. That's some strong fighting words by Perps against CMC. Look, CMC is going to be great per start. The question is, does Shanahan break him? Is this the year he breaks? He got injured in week 17. He crapped the bed. The reason I didn't win about 20K on Underdog was because Christian McCaffrey sat out week 17 with Alvin Kamara the entire third and fourth quarter, and I got absolutely royally screwed. And I'm not taking it out on him by putting him tied for 4th here. That's just facts. He got hurt. He was also banged up several times in 2024 or 2023, and he found a way to get on the field. Credit to him. And it is a dangerous game, a very dangerous game to not have McCaffrey 1. I can at least admit that. It's a dangerous game. But it's almost equally dangerous at 28 years old to have him number 1, if that makes sense. That's why he falls to 4, because it's safe to kind of account for, if you misfire a little bit, you're still getting an absolute stud and conglomerate situation going on. Okay? But if you misfire at him at 1, he gets hurt, you're going to be sitting there going, why don't I listen to the 28-year-old running back theory? Because you're going to get it right 8 or 9 times out of 10. I'm not saying there aren't outliers. Derrick Henry's proving time and time again he's an outlier. But that is not something that we can even bring into the conversation. 28, it's called your hold your breath season. That's what I've coined it. Your hold your breath season, because you can at 28. 28 is possible. 29 does not seem to be, but his injury history and workload make me concerned enough. I don't care how well he takes care of his body. This is a concern. Travis, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, what's up?
Not much. Just third live stream today. I feel pretty good still. I don't feel worn down. I still want to maybe do a Dynasty show later tonight. Maybe a vertical show out and about on the streets of Phoenix, potentially. Maybe a poll show while I go run. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, I think this is one people have been waiting for. Yeah, this is a positive one. Yeah. It's a good vibe. It's definitely a topic people are jonesing for. It can kind of live on for probably a month or several weeks at least, unless something happens. And then something always happens. I guarantee you 2 months from now, something significant here will change. And we're going to be like, oh, yeah, you can't, that didn't survive. That's what sucks about content sometimes.
If the Cowboys draft one of these top guys, they could be sneaking into the fringes of the top 10, I would say, wouldn't you? Depending on who they pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I could put them right into the top 10 for sure, but
Braylon Allen's right here at 10. Him and Henry and ETN. If Braylon Allen's in Dallas, if Jalen Wright's in Dallas. If Blake Corum goes to Dallas, look, I know I've been on record saying I don't really like Blake Corum all that much. I'd give him a look for sure if he's in the right spot, but I still am not overly excited. Like I would buy one share somewhere. And to be honest with you, I've drafted Blake Corum on a ton of best ball drafts. Like, you know, it doesn't feel hypocritical. It's just I'm scooping up every rookie running back I can because you never know. One of them always pops. And he could be relatively productive. My bigger concern for him is if he goes somewhere, he gets utilized, he does well, like let's say in the Chargers backfield, and then he gets hurt because he's stocky though. He is stocky, I'll give him that. But he is built in a way that like it's a little deceptive. Some say he's built like Kyren, but I think Kyren's a little bit different. But you could compare it, I guess you could. But it'll be interesting to see what he does. Yeah. I like Blake Corum's mentality, and I am rooting for him. I go back and forth about how much I think he can survive in certain situations. But you put him in Dallas, you put him in the Chargers offense, I'm okay with those two spots, and let's play it by ear. Like, that's me adjusting and adapting. That's me saying, look, I can understand, I can feel myself changing my tune a little bit in Dallas or in LAC. Past that, I'm not a Blake Corum fan.
Yeah, it's got to be that right spot for sure. I think. What were you gonna say?
Who do you like here? Who do you like a little more than I do, or who do you like a little less than I do on here?
I'm pretty much with you. I would give ETN the edge. It's nitpicking, but because he's younger and he's proven it that he can do it. The situation is a little weird, but I guess the tie makes the most sense, like you said, if they kind of sit right there. I think I love Jacobs where he is. Like I actually have Jacobs ahead of JT. Like I have Barkley and Jacobs 5-6, 5 and 6. I'm pretty much with you in terms of guys that come a little later. Like I'm a little biased because I'm a Patriots fan, but if Ramondre ever gets used the right way, and if the quarterback situation is okay there, I think he could be a top 10 back.
Yeah,
I don't know about top 5. But.
I love him in the sleeper category here. Like I definitely would never rank him 10, but I love the idea of getting him and having him like completely surprise everybody. And you can get him so late, he's so far down on ADP data. Let me put a tie here for we'll put ETN and Henry just so we can get ETN on the screen here. I don't.
You're right about Henry though. Like he could get 900 yards and score 15 to 20 touchdowns in that offense. Like I know people are going to say, "Oh, Lamar's going to rush a bunch of touchdowns in," but I don't know if they can just hand it to Henry. Like Henry could be a goal line back till he's 40 years old. If he did nothing else, the way he runs the ball down there. So
this is a good looking list, though. You know what's beautiful. Yeah, what's beautiful about this list is how it kind of leveled out into the second and third round. Like, so you look at it, Bijan is around one guy, McCaffrey's around one guy, Gibbs is around one guy, Hall is around one guy, and then it's like JT's turn. Kyren is top of round 2. Barkley's into round 2. Achan's in round 2. Jacobs is in round 3. Henry's in round 3. ETN's in round 4. That dead zone, dry zone got filled in nicely because now we have a nice spread out. And so the best player available enters the chat. And it was maybe a little bit more nerve-wracking to do best player available in round 2 prior to the Barkley moving up, prior to Achan, prior to Derrick Henry, becoming a top of round 3 potential guy. Jacobs, you could go Jacobs if you get screwed out of RB because you go Jefferson early, you go Lamb early, which is totally understandable, right? Those are great picks. And you get in round 2 and you're not liking what you see. Barkley goes, JT goes, Achan goes. Take Jacobs at the bottom of 2. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
On Underdog, I've been doing those kind of builds quite a bit where I take, Henry and Jacobs in like 3rd, 4th round, stuff like that. 4th, 5th round sometimes. Like,
rock out. Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll just say real quick, it's funny because you look at, Bijan, Kyren, Hall, and Gibbs, they're all young guys. It still could stand to say there's a world where Barkley and JT and Jacobs could all be top 5 guys. They have the talent and the situation to do it.
Yeah,
I don't think they will. I think these other guys kind of push them out. But, 2 years ago, those guys were top 5 guys.
Yeah.
So
So McCaffrey's going high first round. Bijan's going high first round. Breece Hall's going. So Hall, Bijan, McCaffrey, all high first round. Kyren, second round, probably the biggest steal of all of these guys. Barkley, round 2, one of the biggest steals out of all these guys. Jacobs, arguably with Kyren as the biggest steal out of all these guys. Because if you can get him in round 3, you're cleaning up. And if you have to take him in round 2, that's where he does belong, so it's not a big deal. Let everybody think you're taking him early, but what you're really doing is taking him where I believe he'll probably ultimately climb. But if he doesn't, he's a steal all offseason. If he does climb, he's deserving of it, and he can still outperform it. Because at the end of the day, there's a world where, as you just said, Jacobs can be in round 1 hindsight value. So Jacobs and JT's going at the 10, 11, 12, 13 range. Jacobs is going at the 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 range, very wide range. This guy is every bit as much upside as JT. Therefore, not crazy to go Garrett Wilson or Kyren and get maybe you go St. Brown and Kyren, and then you take Jacobs and you go double RBs in the second and third round and do that. I'm not scared to do that. Everybody's too wide receiver.
So many options.
Everybody's way too locked into you have to go wide receiver, especially on these best ball drafts. Wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. It's the dumbest strategy in my opinion. I don't like it. Maybe if you go 3 wide receivers, it's okay. If you go 4, sure. But to go 7 wide receivers, you're drafting a position. How fun is that? You just select the wide receiver column only. I'm just gonna draft from this orange column. I'm gonna filter it down to wide receiver. And I'm just gonna draft all wide receivers for 8 rounds. How fun? That's the dumbest strategy. Even if it won for you, how much fun is that? I don't understand why people think that's so advantageous because somebody won with it. Who cares? What matters is, do I build as good of a wide receiver room as the person that does it by not doing it? Then I crush them to pieces because I got running backs they don't have, and I creatively built a wide receiver room that could hang with their 8 straight wide receivers. It's not all about the data that Dave gives you on best ball from last year. He's got an Excel sheet that's got 87 tabs on it, and you think because he's spitting out these numbers that somebody won with this, it's got to be, you got to replicate it. I'm telling you, in a year or 2 from now, there's going to be such a wide open conversation about not stacking and not doing some of these strategies, and that they used to win. They don't really win anymore. Oh my God. And then it's going to be fresh and everybody's going to be acting like it's new edgy data. Do you hear the new best ball guy? He's been talking about not stacking. Have you heard the new best ball guy? He's been talking about not drafting 5 straight wide receivers in best ball. And I'm going to be sitting here going, gee, I wonder who's been saying that from day one.
Yeah, there's too much opportunity to be able to build a balanced team, especially right now.
What's this? This guy says, why is nobody talking? Who is this? Let me see. Smitty, why is nobody talking about Pierce? Or not Pierce, I'm sorry, Mixon. Probably because he's such on the verge of fall off, man. He could still do it. But he showed, he like McCaffrey, Ziggy, how old is Joe Mixon? I just want to get his birthday.
Joe Mixon is 27 years old.
His birthday is
on July.
Ziggy off. So he'll be 28, just like McCaffrey, just like Aaron Jones was last year, he fell off. Just like Kamara was last year, who fell off. Just like Eckler was last year, who fell off. So this is his drop off or hold your breath, hope he gets through it season, and he's got a huge injury history that he manages to play with. But I mean, anybody thinks he doesn't have, and the mileage is just massive. This guy's been waiting for a good team for a while. Like, he was there when they had 8-man front after 8-man front after. His mileage is definitely heavier than the average bear. Like, I would say his mileage is rougher than most running backs. And so Mixon, McCaffrey's 28, but McCaffrey, you didn't see drop off. You didn't see it. He was absolutely, he got hurt in week 17, but McCaffrey did not drop off a single bit visually. And that's great news for his 28-year-old season. But I got bad news. Eckler didn't show a single sign of drop off either coming out of 2022, and he dropped off in 2023 in 28. But Mixon, we saw visual drop off. So unfortunately, he doesn't come into it with the same allure that McCaffrey does at 28 because he showed visual signs of breaking down and slowing down. So that's why you're not hearing me talk about it. However, it's a pretty damn good situation. If he can stay healthy, maybe he does well. Yep. My projection is they get a guy like Frank Gore Jr. Nick Caserio knows what he's doing. D'Amico Ryans knows what he's doing. Houston's an absolute amazing franchise. And they're going to draft like a Frank Gore Jr. They're going to get somebody. And my prediction is that a rookie rises up in Houston and everybody's going to go, oh my God, look at what they did. They just stole that rookie running back away. He's marvelous. He's unbelievable. Devin Singletary looked like a top 5 running back in that offense. So maybe Mixon does look good, but does he get hurt? And does the rookie running back rise up like a phoenix? And man, Frank Gore Jr., Jalen Wright, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen would be just phenomenal. So that's my prediction.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. All right. What else we got? Who's on the phone? Oh, someone called in. Rockout called in and then he hung up. But yeah, Mixon's tough. He's a tough sell. He's a real tough sell.
Yeah, and like he's one of those guys that not bad to have a couple shares in best ball, and if he's also a guy if you end up with having him and he starts out hot, you might want to look to trade him. Like actually, you talked about Eckler last year. You said if you have Eckler and he starts out hot, move him. And there was a time where some people were able to move him, but. I thought Mixon would fall off last year, and to his credit, he did it all the way. So
yeah, I mean he did do well, but he did at the end he looked slower and all that. But Rockout says Smitty, the hardest worker in the game, do it live. Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate your super chat, my man. And he did ask about Rachaad White as well, and it's a great question. Like Rachaad White could be 10, he could be tied at 10. Speak of the devil. Rockout, you keep calling and it keeps hanging up immediately. Like it dials and hangs up. I don't know if something's wrong with your phone. I don't think it's mine because I've got Travis on and Tyler just called and I put Tyler on hold, no problem. Or he's on the line, no problem. So Rockout, keep trying. Maybe even restart your phone. Tyler, you're live. Any gripes? Yeah. Any complaints? Any pats on the back? Any cookies you want to give me here? What are we doing?
No, I do appreciate all that you do, but I just have a timer on a trade, and I apologize because you're talking about running backs, but this is a wide receiver dynasty question.
Selfish, man.
Go ahead. Would you do either Pittman and the 104 or Olave and Garrett Wilson?
Okay, Pittman in the 104.
Or Garrett Wilson and Olave. I only ask this because there's a timer on it.
I would take Garrett Wilson and Olave probably. There's some intrigue here. I know a lot of people like Pittman. I'm not as high on Pittman as other people. There's a chance that this guy gets the 1.4, ends up being somebody that the Colts take. It could be crazy, like Brian Thomas Jr. or something like that. But Garrett Wilson and Olave for me. Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Is it super flex?
Yeah, super flex, 10-team start. I think.
Who do you have?
8 or 10.
Who do you have at QB?
3 QBs that I have are Josh Allen, Stroud, and Hurts.
Jeez. But the good thing is,
the wide receivers.
yeah, the good thing is you might.
So the 104 would most likely, hopefully, be like Neighbors.
Yeah. Let's see. That's still tough, but maybe I do like that now.
I have the 101, so the 101 would be Marv.
Yeah, and you could get Bowers too. Is it tight end premium?
It isn't, but I do need one.
I
only have.
I take this. I take the Pittman 1.4. I now that it's super flex, and the fact that you don't need quarterbacks makes me like it more because you're going to see quarterbacks fly off the board, at least one or two of them. So you get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1, and then it might go quarterback. You could get the second best receiver, and if not, you get Odunze, who I love, who I believe is the second best receiver, but maybe landing spot will make him not. And then worst case scenario, you go Brock Bowers. Yeah, I like it. I'll take that. I love Garrett Wilson, I really do, but you're guaranteed Odunze or Neighbors, and Pittman and Olave are pretty close. I don't think that, like, at the end of the day, but with the quarterback situations, it's unfortunate that it's true. Like, this is like Olave's like McLaurin without quarterback for years. Olave's like he's like Garrett Wilson last year without a quarter. Like, that's what he's hampered. Unfortunately, he's hampered. He's not the guy we want him to be. He could be maybe in a year or two, but that's a speculative game and a waiting game. I love Garrett Wilson, absolutely love him, but I probably lean toward this right here, the Pittman 1.4, but barely. My first reaction was Garrett Wilson, but I changed my mind.
Do you?
Okay, because I would basically be giving away Garrett Wilson for hopefully Neighbors.
Oh, I mean, hopefully Odunze for me, but I hear you. If you like Neighbors, don't let me sway you. Don't let me sway you. But yeah, it depends on where the landing spot is.
You like Neighbors or Odunze better than Wilson?
In the right spot. In the right spot. If let's say Odunze goes to Chicago, Neighbors goes to the Chargers, then Garrett Wilson and Odunze are really close, and I could see myself liking Garrett Wilson more. But
there is the question of who is Garrett Wilson's QB after Rodgers too. Though,
yeah,
long term.
Yeah. There's that issue as well. It's a great dilemma. I don't think you're getting screwed on either side. So whatever you end up with is very arguable, but you definitely are in a huge advantage given the number one's not a quarterback and it's your pick, and number 2 and 3 are one of them at least. Probably both are going to be QBs in a super flex. And if they're not, I mean, look, if JD5's there, like if it goes Neighbors and Caleb and JD5's there, I mean, I'm considering it just because of then you could trade, him or one of these guys, but it just depends.
One of the QBs for something.
It just depends. At the end of the day, I'm probably taking Neighbors, but if he's in the best spot. But that's a great situation.
Well, you would definitely take the 104
for now.
Over
not definitely. Not definitely. I'm not going to tie myself to that. I'm wavering, and I lean that way. Yeah. It's close, bro.
Thanks.
It's really close.
Not to get too deep on it, but if he has that 104 and like JD5 falls there, the guy at 105 or 106, might be willing to give him a boatload for that as well. He can still end up with a receiver.
Yeah. You know what I would try and do though is, and I'm not saying I hate Pittman, but I would try and move Pittman and just see if you can, because if you could turn Pittman into like Odunze, somehow, if you could turn Pittman into Brock Bowers, and just like if it's the pick or whatever, I would do that. If you could get another pick in this somehow, some way. If you could turn him into Achane, Kyren, and you might have to give up more to do that, but like those are things that I'm strongly considering. I don't hate Pittman, but I think he's got good value. Not to mention the Colts are very much a threat to draft a wide receiver, and if they do, they're drafting one at 16. That's a Brian Thomas Jr. or an Odunze if they move up, and so Pittman becomes the number 2 there in Indy if that happens. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it certainly could happen. Not to mention they'll probably still draft a receiver. So if a Lad McConkey ends up being a Colt or a Corley, Malachi Corley, like Pittman could still be in a threatening situation where he could lose the number 1 job and share it at the very minimum or something.
He probably can move Pittman. There's a lot of people.
A lot of hype. A lot of people love him. A lot of people love him. All right, hey, hold on one second. Who's talking?
I wanted to ask him.
Who's talking?
This is Rob. I wanted to ask him. Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.
I wanted to ask him the rest of his team and the format he's playing. Before he made that trade.
Yeah.
10 team super flex.
Yeah, super
flex. Start how many? How many he's starting? What's the starters like?
You know what? Instead of that, Rob, we're going to move around the phone line because I don't want to tie the thing up too much. We got the gist of it, and I don't think we need to go into the details on it. Plus, I don't want to bore anybody. Not that it's boring to everybody, but let's jump around real quick. Tyler, appreciate he left anyway. Go ahead, Rob. You're live.
No, I think that trade, bro. I really think he should go Olave and Wilson. No hesitation. And then use one of his other pieces to go get a quarterback if he needs.
He doesn't need a quarterback.
He already got the 101.
He's got Stroud. He's got Josh Allen. He's got the 1.1.
Oh yeah.
He's set. But you know,
I'd much rather have.
My Garrett Wilson was an instinct of mine, but
and Olave and Pittman and Odunze or Neighbors. And I'm real high on Neighbors, but I still rather have the combination of Wilson and Olave than Pittman. But I'm not high on Pittman. I'm lower than most people on Pittman.
Yeah, I think it's arguable for sure. What do you got on the running backs?
As far as my rankings?
Yeah, who stands out to you on this one? Who do you like a little more? Who do you like a little less?
For this class or just in general?
No, on screen. This entire show is about the top 10 running backs. Yeah, they're on screen right now.
So my number 1 is obviously Bijan. Then I would go Breece Hall, and then I would go Gibbs, and then I would put CMC at 4. Kyren would be 5. JT, you know what? I would put JT 5. I would put Kyren 6. I would put let's see. I will put. Who did I miss? I got Bijan, Hall, Gibbs,
Barkley, Jacobs,
JT,
Achane, Henry, ETN.
So I would put Barkley at 7. I would go ETN at 8. I would go
Dawson, call back in.
Achane at 9 and Henry at 10.
Nice.
So Bijan, Hall, Gibbs, CMC, JT, Kyren. Then
all right.
At 7, I will have Achane, ETN.
All right, we got you.
And then
We got you. Rock out. Hold on. Here, stay right there, Rob. Rock out. You're live. You've been there for a while. I'm sorry, bro. What did you want to add? I forgot you were there.
Rock out.
Rock out.
Yeah, I would have Jacobs at number 7.
Yeah, Jacobs is such a beast, man. He could be 6. He could be 7. He could be 5. Really. I mean, this group is so good. This group is so good. Barkley could be 4. He could be 7. Achane could be 5. He could be 8. Hall could be 1, or he could be 3. Kyren could be 1, or it could be 4 or 5. Christian McCaffrey could be 1. Like, there's really no. Like, if someone were to have a problem with anybody else's ranking here, I would just laugh and be like, what makes you think that this can't happen, that somebody's mapping out? Like what Rob just said, or my ranking, or Travis's ranking. Like, who are you to think that Barkley can't be 2 or 7? Like, this is all very, 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 very potentially movable. Rock out, what were you saying about Jacobs?
Yeah, I would have him 7, and then maybe Rashad White at like 9.
Yeah, White's hard to leave out of this. He definitely, it could be Rashad White, Henry, and ETN kind of all right there at that 10 spot. I'm not moving Rashad White above Achane,
Yeah.
Jacobs, or JT or Barkley. I'm just not doing it. But like he's in this Henry Etienne territory, and I'm with Travis. I think Ramondre is not in this conversation, but he could end up here at the end of the year. Like he's a crafty later round guy, middle round guy who does not come anywhere close to top 10 running back drafting. In fact, we look at the ADP and you have to scroll all the way freaking down to 82 overall, which is running back 21. So we're talking about, even if I did a top 20 running back ranking, Stevenson ADP wise wouldn't even be on this list. So he's a guy to really keep an eye on. I think also
who else is in there?
Pacheco, Walker.
Zamir White.
Yeah, Zamir White, 100%.
Zamir White is in that like 98.
Pacheco.
Braylon Allen or whatever rookie lands in Dallas. Whatever rookie lands in Houston is going to be a sleeping giant just waiting. I can't wait. It's going to be good.
The thing to watch with Rashad White is does Tampa take a bath in like the top 3 or 4 rounds?
Yeah. I don't mean to keep cutting you guys off. I'll circle back around, but Dawson's been waiting a hell of a long time. Dawson, you're live. I know you hung up.
I'll go for it.
Dawson calling back. Sorry about that, bro.
Maybe after that, Isaac left a message too.
Okay.
After you do that.
What's up, Dawson?
So basically, I would say my rankings are pretty similar to the last guys. I would take Bijan 1, Breece Hall 2, CMC probably 3, and Gibbs 4, and I'll take Barkley 5. Probably Jacobs ahead of Kyren. I'm a little lower.
I can't get mad at it, but it pains me, but I understand. I get it. They're so good. All these guys are so good. This is the best running back stable we've seen in a while. It's so potent. This is why drafting running back at 12 and 13 is such a fun move. Especially if you can get the right wide receiver to fall to your 3rd and 4th round back-to-back picks. It's such a fun move. Or if you go even a little higher up and you manage to get Gibbs or Breece Hall and you still get Achane, and then you go wide receiver. I've even gone one wide receiver doing that and then take Mahomes, and I've loved my team. And then go deep wide receiver shopping like Hopkins and guys like that as my wide receiver too. I'm fine with that. But yeah,
I can see that.
I mean, I can't blame anybody for having Kyren 1 or 6. I get it. You know, McCaffrey's so hard to not have 1. Like I said, the only reason why I can comfortably put him 3 or 4 is just because it's as dangerous to have him 1 as it is 4. You know, like you might watch him do it again. But I just think that there's a real risk that he's going to break down. He's got so much mileage and he's being abused. And the Niners historically, injure players. They run him into the ground. He's the one guy that probably could shake it free, but, and have one more year and just break the mold. I don't know. Who's this year's Achane? One of the rookie running backs in Houston's a good bet for it. And then I love the Dallas running back, but that's going to be kind of easy to see coming. The Zamir White call. Zamir White's a moon man for a reason. We've got him on this moon man list right here.
The moon man.
Other options. I mean, damn, bro. You're talking about so many players. Yeah.
Chase Brown have any shot?
Yeah, Chase Brown's got a shot, but also, Kenneth Walker is a big name, but he's in the territory of this kind of conversation. He just is, because Kenneth Walker is going 62 overall, and he is running back 16. So he falls into this crazy territory. Stevenson, even though he's a well-known name, he still could be, big. But if we're talking rookie, it's the rookie in Houston, the rookie in Dallas. Zamir White so late. Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright, whoever's drafted. Spears. Let's not pretend that Spears turned into a pumpkin just because Pollard landed in Tennessee. If anything, Spears becomes camouflaged even more, and he's cheaper, and he's still the same guy. So Spears has that written all over him. Jonathan Brooks, if he can get healthy. Zach Charbonnet quietly, unfortunately, still has a lot of that kind of value. All the rookies, Lloyd and like I said, Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright. Even Blake Corum in the right spot. Zach Moss is going at 107. Nobody's responding to Zach Moss's drafts or signing in Cincinnati and positioning there. He's running back 33. That we've had a lot of time for the ADP to settle, and no one's taken him seriously. He's got a lot of upside. Zamir White, probably my favorite. Jaylen Warren a little bit for sure, and that's really it, bro. I mean, those names feel like the big names. Anybody else on the phone line got a name to throw out that I didn't mention as an H-hand type? Or
Did you say Alvin Kamara yet, Smitty?
No, but yeah, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, all those rookies for sure. Alvin Kamara, I mean, his value.
I think they start to use Kendrick Miller.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Alvin Kamara's value is not great. I wouldn't call him an H-hand. He's like going 60s. I don't like that value.
I would say like Kendrick Miller could be a Devon Chain type player.
Could. He could. He's a good player, and kind of like Kyren, his rookie year, everybody was expecting, didn't get anything. Now they hate him. You know, Kyren disappointed his rookie year, and everybody doubted him coming into his second year. So, you know, he definitely fits the bill, and you want to make sure you don't allow that injury and just not doing anything affect the valuation you may have had before the draft. And we were high on him. We liked Kendrick Miller a lot, so it definitely fits the bill. Jaylen Warren, 90s. Javante's going in like the hundreds or late 90s to 100s. So like Javante's starting to look like a complete free stab in the dark.
Deep upside player.
What'd you say, Rob?
That.
Hold on.
Devontae got a lot of work last year. He just wasn't as efficient as he usually is because he wasn't healthy. But I think he's going right back to how we was treating him the year before.
I hope, man.
He was pretty high on Devontae.
Hope they give him the ball.
I think he bounced back, man.
I hope he balls out. Hope he balls out. Who's talking there? Who's talking there?
Muffled.
I don't know. I'm going to hang up on him, whoever it is. He's literally having a conversation. Okay. Garrett, you're live.
Yes, Smitty, I do like your rankings. I am a Packers fan, so there's probably a little bias into this, but I do think that Jacobs could really have a solid top 5 running back season. Because last year, Aaron Jones and Dillon, I think they each had like 2 rushing touchdowns each. Like it was a very pass-heavy offense because of those like injuries to Jones, and Dillon just wasn't good as like the main feature back. I think they're going to want to feature Josh Jacobs and give him like 20 touches a game, 15 to 20 at least.
You're definitely biased, bro. But that doesn't mean you're wrong.
You think?
But doesn't mean you're wrong. You could be biased and be right. I think you're right. I'm just saying you're biased because you're a Packer fan, but this is all true. You know, like don't worry about the fact that you're excited about him means that what you're projecting and touting isn't going to come true. Jacobs is going to get fed, bro. Get really excited because Jordan Love is going to not only help him in ways that he wasn't able to get the help in LV, and there's going to be so much room for him to run. This is like the Packers resetting the clock with Aaron Jones and just getting, he found the fountain of youth, and they're just sitting a brand new Aaron Jones right in front of him. I really, really like Jacobs this year, and this is the definition of adjust and adapt, because last year he was a complete avoid for me. So I'm definitely not like married to a previous take, because I didn't like him in LV, and for good reason. But I absolutely love Jacobs, who blocked me on social media, by the way. And that's how unbiased I am.
He's a dog.
I don't care that he blocked me on social media, but he blocked me on social media. You know, I should check and see if he unblocked me, because players do that a lot. They'll block somebody and then they'll unblock you. And it makes you wonder how in the hell they knew to unblock you, though. Like, are they actually like looking at your content or something? Like, how in the hell do you get blocked by a player and then unblocked? Unless somebody takes control of their social media account and they have some sort of like automated thing that will unblock people. And I don't know. because it's weird. But like, let me search for Josh Jacobs. I don't think I can find him. I don't know if anybody can pull up their Instagram and look for him. But let me see if he shows up now. Josh Jacobs. He was really pissed at me one day. Josh Jacobs. Is it Josh Jacobs 90? No. It's a guy with like 5 kids.
On Instagram?
Yeah, Josh Jacobs on Instagram. I don't see him. He must have blocked me.
It's IM_ Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I can't find him. So he blocked me. So he blocked me because I went at him pretty hardcore when he pretended to be hurt and tricked fantasy football because he hates fantasy football. He hates fantasy football players. And he's like, I'm hurt. I'm not playing today. And everybody benched him. And then he played and laughed. And he played horribly. And everybody that benched him actually scored more because he had like 2 points. And I went after him hardcore. And his fan base went after him hardcore. He was tricking his own followers. He like the dumbest thing about Jacobs in this was that it was his Instagram. And the people that view your stories, 90% are your followers. And so he put a bird emoji and said, F your fantasy, after he tricked everybody. And like, these are his followers he's talking to. And so they got really upset. They're threatening him left and right, which is not good and not cool. But he's like, meet me at the stadium. He kept posting the address. Everybody that would talk crap, he'd screenshot it, put it up, and put the address of the stadium and say, meet me down there to fight him. And then eventually, like, the HR or social media team or the team, whatever, came to him and must have said, take it all down. So he ripped it all down, and then he just went dormant or whatever. But I blasted him. I was like, what in the hell are you doing? And then he blocked me on all his social media. But
I hope he doesn't bring that to Green Bay.
Yeah, so, no, well, I mean, he's younger, I guess, so whatever. I don't hold it against him. I think Josh Jacobs is hungry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about that. I'm clearly not holding it against him, and I'm just trying to prove that I'm not letting that bias, get me. Maybe everybody can tag him and get him to unblock me. I'll put a post up. If Josh Jacobs unblocks me, I'll give away a jersey.
Smitty, that was like one point. The other point was I was going to come on here and ask you about Derrick Henry, why you had him so low. And then I'm looking at all these running backs and I'm like, good. Like, there's just so much talent.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to like move guys up and down.
Yeah. Like, who would you move down? I'm not saying I couldn't, but like, who would you? I don't know. If I had to move Henry up one spot and we're leaving ETN in the dust at 11, is it Achane? And the only reason I can say that is because I'm not scared to rank Achane 10, to draft Achane 10, to treat Achane as 10, and then get completely blessed with a top 5 running back production. And then if it doesn't work out and he gets banged up or something and he can't stay healthy, he's correct. He misses 5 games, but still is explosive. Then he earns his top 10 value. So, like, the only one I could pull out would be Achane, and I don't even want to do that, but I could maybe do that. I'm not pulling Jacobs out. And the true test is this. Who is a second-round worthy player more, Barkley or Henry? Probably Barkley. Who's a second-round worthy player more, JT or Henry? JT's almost first-round worthy, so yeah, JT. Who's more second-round worthy, Henry or Jacobs? Jacobs. And so, like, you can't move any of those guys. Like, just ask yourself that question. You're on the clock. Achane, I could see somebody saying Achane's 3.1 and Henry's 2.12. Like, I could get behind that, but I like Achane a tad more. Just a itty bitty tad. All right, let me go around Scuba, and then I'll go back over to Rob. I think Rob hung up. Rob, call back if you want in, bro. I'm sorry, I'm trying to cycle around the phone line. I got to go quickly. Let me go to Scuba. Scuba, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, my man?
I'm good, bro. Coble just dropped a super chat. He said, go Pack, go baby. Jacobs is going to ball. Coble to the moon. Appreciate you, Coble, dropping a super. Scuba, what can I do for you?
Hey, Smitty, man, I want to first ask you to have 2 questions. First one is,
sure, Smitty.
who's your favorite, I know you're doing a top 10, but who's your favorite, like, buy low candidate in terms of, like, a running back that you think that might be a steal on his ADP that maybe like some people might not be going after, but you have no problems scooping up in the draft?
So we just went over this. You probably weren't here, so it's okay. I'll say it again. We just went over this topic. It would be, let's start as low as probably like 60 overall. Kenneth Walker, I love him at 60 overall. Ramondre, 82. He could be a top 6 to 10 running back. You cannot expect it, but he could be. We've seen it happen. So Ramondre is one of the biggest steals at 82 overall for an RB. You've got, Mostert was one of the most productive backs in football last year. I granted he's, 105 years old, so like I get it, but he is also dropping all the way to freaking, where's his ADP right now? Mostert is at 85 overall, running back 23. That's still good value. Jaylen Warren, we said at 91 is pretty good. Javante's excellent at 95, no risk at all. Eckler at 99 overall. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, is he the same Eckler? Probably not. Could he be for 5 games? Maybe. Is he going to catch a bunch of balls in Washington, and is Cliff Kingsbury going to turn him into something maybe that he can still be, even though he can't maybe be his old self? There's a reason he turned down, returning to the Chargers offenses, because he didn't want to do what they were asking him to do. He didn't really clarify, but he didn't want to, I guess, be a between the tackle bruising back because he doesn't think he can stay healthy. Zamir White at 100 overall is probably some of the best value you can find. Trey Benson's gonna rise depending on his landing spot. So Zach Moss 107. Why is he not climbing? Why is Zach Moss still running back 32 overall, or 31, or whatever it is? Why? I don't know. No one's buying in. Tajay Spears at 114. Pollard's there. Who cares? He's now even cheaper and still has the same talent. So Spears to the moon. Chase Brown maybe. Blake Corum will rise or fall depending on the value. Jalen Wright, we can't even say yet because he'll go up. If those are all those names, then we say Kendra Miller, Braylon Allen. All those guys. But I would say out of all of those, my favorite is probably Zach Moss's ADP at 107 is one of them. Zamir White at like 9,900-ish. Ramondre at 82. Those are all fantastic, bro. Good question.
All right. No problem. And my next question is just what...
and then Dawson.
Dallas for like a little bit, it seemed like they had like success like with Dak and like their running game, whether it was like Zeke. Maybe it was like Tony Pollard for a little bit. I know that last year he struggled, but is there any rookie that you want to go inside that room? Because I don't know.
Braylon Allen number 1, Jalen Wright number 2, Trey Benson number 3. I think Braylon Allen would be a force. Would be a force in that Dallas offense. So would Houston. Oh, I'm sorry. Frank Gore Jr. might be also one of my favorite late. He's like at the end of the draft in the 200s. Frank Gore Jr. to Houston would be one of my favorite dark horse landing spots. But those are all kind of pipe dream scenarios because he's got such low draft capital. But Frank Gore Jr. might not get a shot. I don't know. I hope he does. Braylon Allen in Dallas would be, to me, we talked about that earlier too, that he would be whatever Dallas running back is taken could flirt with this 11, 12 overall running back ranking, like right after these guys. So like 12, 13, 11, 12, 13. Braylon Allen would be right there with ETN in Dallas because Dallas would feed the hell out of him.
So, I don't know too much about him. Is he, would you consider him like a third down back, or do you think that McCarthy would try to split? Because it seems like since like he's been there, he has like one guy that would be like a red zone back, and then they'd have like one as like a pass catching back. You think that they would just give him all the carries, or would you think they'd just split like time or anything like that?
I think whoever they take, they're going to want to be the workhorse back. It's tough to know what they're exactly going to do as rookies. He had 12 touchdowns in his 2023 college season, 984, 12 touchdowns, 5.4 a carry. His receiving stats, he's been a pretty underutilized receiver. His biggest season is 28 receptions this past season, which isn't bad. It's not horrible. 131 yards, 28 receptions, but no touchdowns. I think he'd be utilized enough. Remember, Zeke Elliott, ironically, in Dallas, was never used in college. So everyone said he wasn't going to be a pass catching back at the NFL. So I wouldn't hold it against Braylon. I didn't see Braylon Allen, to me, has the makings of a 3-down back. But it'll come down to pass protection, and we'll find that out, once he's there. I don't think we can really fully predict it right now. But Braylon Allen is a force, man. He's the biggest. He's the bully running back of this draft class. He really is. Trey Benson's probably the most well-rounded. So he'll definitely be in the cards for a Dallas Cowboys selection. No doubt about it. But I don't know. Jalen Wright is the one that metric-wise looks the most explosive. And when you look at his career stats, first of all, he had 1,000 yards in 1013 and only 4 touchdowns in 2023. So that touchdown number is a little concerning, but he had 10 the previous year. Receiving wise, he's kind of hard to predict like what he'd do. It depends where he goes. He's had a pretty decent 2023, 22 catch, 141. Again, nothing to write home about. No receiving touchdowns. Definitely not, that's not your guy that like you're saying, oh, this is the best rookie running back, Braylon Allen or Jalen Wright in this class at receiving the ball. He's not, but doesn't mean he couldn't become one. People are they jump to conclusions and act like players can't, change and develop. But certainly the concerns are there that both those running backs may not be absolute gems receiving the football. But then you look at Trey Benson, he's got 20 receptions for 227 and 1 touchdown, but only 20 receptions. He had a more productive 20 receptions. That 227 yardage and a touchdown was nice, but they're really not, the top 3 guys aren't really screaming, I'm a receiving monster. But you never know. All right, Scuba, appreciate you. Anything else, Scuba? I'm going to go to Dawson now. Anything else, pal?
I guess depending on, I don't know what type of season that they're going to have with the Saints. Do you think that Alvin Kamara, he ends up getting traded, depending on if they, I don't know, I think they brought in Carr last year. I guess they probably thought they're going to win a division, and it seemed like things really didn't shake out. So, I don't know if they're going to try to sell pieces. I don't really know what type of direction they have for that team, but if they look like they're not off to a good start, do you think that that's somebody they can try to trade? And if you do think so, what do you think that somebody like him could end up that I guess could have some type of value or something?
I don't know that he has any trade. I guess he probably could have trade value, but it'd be so low. Is it worth getting rid of him? I don't think so. I don't see him. You never know. You never know. Teams do weird things. Hey, here's a 4th rounder, and we're like, what in the hell? His contract, it comes down to money. So next year he's due a base salary of $22 million, and that is a lot. Will a team want to take on that contract? Probably not. The dead cap this year is 18 mil. The dead cap next year is 10 mil. So you'll probably see him get cut next year, is my guess, and they roll with him this year. Anything's possible though, bro. The dead cap, it's hard to know what teams are willing to take on, and plus, there's guaranteed money already on the table and different complexities to different contracts. And at the end of the day, I don't think he's moved, but you never know. And I think he drops off. Last year was his season to drop off, and he did. He did at the tail end. Now he's entering his 29-year-old season. Ziggy, how old is Alvin Kamara? Let's see when his birthday is.
Alan Burston is 9.
Alan Burston, Alvin Kamara. Ziggy, how old is Alvin Kamara? Alan Burston, 91.
Was 28 years old and was born on July 25th,
1995. Ziggy off. So July he turns 29. I'm not banking on it. All right, Scoop, appreciate you, bro.
No problem, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank
you. Travis.
Smitty, I gotta jump too. So
all right, later, Travis. Later, Travis. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right, later. Hey, what's going on? Can we get a Joe Burrow, please? Come here. Can we get a Joe Burrow real quick? Can you say Joe Burrow? Ha ha ha. Point to what player you think is the best. Zachary, I got your super chat right here. Appreciate you. Point to what player you think is the best player. Who is going to score the most points this year? Point to which one. Which one of these guys? You point to him. Go. Christian McCaffrey. Oh, my God. Get out of here. Good job. Good job. CMC?
Again.
You again? Okay. You want to redo it? She doesn't like her choice. Which one? She pointed at McCaffrey again. This isn't. Maybe, but she might not understand the question. Is he going to do well or bad? Well. Okay, good. Good. Okay. You want to point to one more? Who's going to be the next best? Point to it. One more. Breece Hall. I like it. He's 8 foot tall. All right, close the door.
Get Breece.
Well, I mean, you heard it. Little Smitty said Christian McCaffrey ain't falling off this year. I don't know what we do with that information. That's hard to understand. All right. No, you're good to go. Thank you. All right. At some point, we got to lock the door. All right. Zachary, appreciate your $5 hauler. 2 keepers. I'm sorry it took so long. Zach, you still here? 2 keepers. I have the first pick in the draft. Best 2 players are Bijan, Lamb. Who do I take? Not a big fan of Hall, so I'm going to pass on him. What do you guys think on the phone line? And then I'm going to go to Dawson. Let's start with Dawson. Dawson, who do you like better, Bijan or Lamb? Of course, details kind of matter. If it's PPR, do you have any other players at all? First pick in a keeper draft, like tough to say. You know, I guess I'd go Bijan, yeah. But I mean, like we don't know who's throwing the Lamb next year, so it's not like Lamb's got this like defined future right now. You know, I don't know. You know, Lamb's got. Does he have Dak next year? Does he not? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. So I take Bijan. Bijan for me. Wide receivers have a longer shelf life, but give me Bijan. Appreciate your super chat, my guy. Zach, you still here? Go ahead, Dawson. What else you got?
So a deep sleeper, someone you could probably pick up on waivers, like I'm almost guaranteed. Isaiah Spiller. You think with the coaching change, he will finally get some usage, and with offense going on?
I hate to burst your bubble here, bro, and I could be wrong, bro. I could be wrong. Trust your gut, but he had some of the worst metrics at the combine. He was not the best running back on his college football roster. If you look back at the data, I remember looking at it, deep diving on it, and I don't remember the exact numbers anymore. But when he was in college, he was never the best statistical back out of the rotation that they had. He was always second or third. And he was bottom of the barrel at the combine in most all the categories. I am not a big fan of Spiller at all. Now, that doesn't mean he can't develop at the next level, you know, and he's doing that. I haven't seen it yet, so I have no reason to believe that I'm wrong on it. But I don't like Spiller. I don't. You never know. Not to mention, I mean, he's bringing. Who else is going to be there in that room? But we'll see. You what? I can't hear you.
I've been keeping Spiller.
Yeah, he's been keeping some. He's been taking up space. He's been. I don't know. Depends who you could cut him loose for, but you know, might as well keep him unless there's an option to pick him up. But I don't like Spiller at all. I'm sorry, Dawson. I could be wrong, Dawson. I could be wrong. What?
I mean, it's fair now.
Yeah. All right, Dawson. Appreciate you, bro.
Can I also go over a trade?
Yeah, real quickly.
So, in a league where I had both the 101 and 102...
I can barely hear you. Your phone's cutting in and out, bro. Say it one more time.
So, in a league where I had both the 101 and 102, I traded the 102 and Quentin Johnston for Justin Jefferson and Mike Williams. What do you think of that trade?
You traded the 1.2 and Quentin Johnston for JJ?
Yeah, and Mike Williams.
I don't like it. I love it.
You've just been Smitty approved.
I like it, my boy. I like it a lot.
I'm going Caleb at the 101. I need quarterback.
Well, get JD. JD5 is the number one. All right. Hey, Dawson, appreciate you. Go watch the JD5 video. Go check out the Saturn Men list. All right, later, bro. Appreciate you. Mars Man, rock out. You're the final caller. What can I do for you to close the night out, my good man? And hit that thumb up button, people. And thank you for my super chats. And is Zachary here? Did I miss Zachary? Zachary, you okay, bro? Go ahead, Mars Man, rock out.
Yeah, I would flip Hall to number 2, and then I might have Gibbs at 3.
Is Zachary still here? Gibbs at 3, Hall at 2, Bijan at 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that. Who can argue with that? I'm not going to argue with that. Zachary says I have... Okay, he's still here. All right, good. Zachary, I got it right here. I'm addressing you next. I think that's the same Zachary, right? Hopefully it is. Let me see. Yeah, it is. Okay, Zachary, I'm here. And if you need to call on Zachary, I'm here for you. Who do you have right after that? So you have Bijan, Hall, Gibbs, and then who's next? McCaffrey or Kyren? Or someone else? JT? What do you got?
I would have... I would have Kyren at 5 and then CMC at 4.
Okay, I got you. This is why Zamir White will be the Raiders' bell cow. Their GM can't evaluate running back talent, says Prime. I like Zamir White. I like Zamir White a lot. Zachary says, I have Mahomes. I have to pick between Olave and Rice. Probably going to drop Rice and keep Olave. I would concur on that. I think Rice is going so far. Like, you think about it, bro. Where's Olave getting drafted? Way ahead of Rice right now. So your odds of, if you wanted to, of having both increase, you're not going to be able to draft Olave back near as easily. Nor do I necessarily draft Rice back. So I concur there. Zachary, if there's another question, I hope I answer your other question properly. I appreciate your super chat, my guy. Your super chat was this one right here, which was the keeper question. And I think Bijan would be my pick. But you can't go wrong either way. I do love Hall, though. I know you said you're not a big fan. I'm a huge fan. But thank you, Zachary. Appreciate you. Rock out. Anything else here? Anything else of any of the topics today? Anything on the Ayuk situation? Anything on this? Or Bo Nix I like a lot. Prime.
Yeah. Would you rather have 2 top 10 wide receivers or 2 top 10 receivers in the first 2 rounds?
You mean running backs? You said receivers both times.
2 top receivers or 2 top running backs in the top 10?
I mean, it just depends. Who are the players? You know, do I love drafting teams? I like doing a lot of both, but Kyren and Gibbs you can get very easily right now on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, where they will double your first deposit up to $100. And I've got a link I'm going to drop for a live draft here right at the end. If anybody, actually, let's do it right now. Let me copy the link. And if anybody wants to get in, we need 8 people to start this draft. It is a fast draft. Here's the link. I won't be drafting it live on the show, but I'll be drafting live in it. And this is a league. It's $3 to enter. It's got like $40 in prizes or so. And the link has been dropped in the live chat right now. The code is Smitty to get on the Underdog app and get that double your first deposit. But hit that link right now to get into this league with me. There's 8 spots remaining. Why did I say that? What was the question, Rock Out? I'm sorry. I sidetracked myself.
It's basically if you're doubling up on running backs or doubling up on receivers.
Yes, sir. So at the 12-13 turn, you can oftentimes get Kyren and Gibbs at back-to-backs. I love that. If you're talking about, just like what wide receiver, am I getting a receiver above that? Am I getting JJ? Then I love JJ. If I'm getting Garrett Wilson, who I like a lot, I like Kyren a little bit more. I like Gibbs a little bit more. I like Bijan obviously more. I like Hall a little more than than Garrett Wilson. So give me a scenario and I'll tell you which one, because top 10 wide receivers, top 10 running backs, that's basically like asking me, do I draft a position, not a player? Because I'm always going to go best player available. So I can't even answer that. It's a very vague question. So give me two scenarios.
Lamb and I don't know, AJ Brown.
Okay. Or
the Bijan or Jacob.
Woo! That's a good one. I like that. Lamb and AJ Brown, Bijan and Jacobs. This team would struggle at RB. I don't even think you get a Henry. I don't think you get a Jacobs. It would be tough. This team would struggle at wide receiver, but could you still get a Devontae Smith? And we got 5 more to start. The link is in the live chat. If anybody wants to join this league, the link is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just drop it again. Here's the link right now. If you want to join this league, it's $3 to get in. Underdog Fantasy. Let's see here. Devontae Smith and maybe a D. Like
where does IU go?
I don't think Debo. Debo probably doesn't fall. Ayuk's going too high. He's still like in the top 25-ish overall. So like DK, DK and Devontae Smith. That's doable. Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I'd rather have Bijan, Jacobs, DK, and Cooper Kupp, or Devontae Smith and DK, or Cooper Kupp and than to go RB hunting in the later, like Aaron Jones and Monty and Mixon, and even Pacheco I don't like as much. So even if you got a Pacheco, and I'm liking this team a lot more. I think the gap between Lamb and AJ Brown is not as big as people think between the Kupp and DK. The gap between the running backs you're getting here are miles and miles apart of the Jacobs and Bijan. Give me the 2 RBs in that scenario. It's a good question.
Yeah.
All right, rock out. Appreciate you, my guy. We'll see you later, broski. All right, later. I'll be live later, guys. Like a little bit later on the Dynasty channel. We're probably done unless news breaks. One more to start in the draft, by the way, and then it's a live draft. 30-second timer. One more to start. I'll drop the link right now. 1 spot left. This is a league. It's a best ball league, so you're drafting, you're done. But it lasts all year. Just the 12 of us all season long, and brag about beating me in this league if you want. One more to start. Link is right there. Click it. Jump in. So your boy is going to be live on the Dynasty channel later tonight. I'll do it on mobile. We're full on the draft, but hit the link and join anyway, so you're ready next time we do one. We'll drop one every couple days for sure on the channel. Dynasty Fantasy Football, youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. Live tonight, vertical on mobile. We're doing a poll show where you guys throw 2 names at me. I put a poll up and we vote and call it at about 30 votes. We call it end the poll, start a new poll. Dynasty, we're doing it tonight. Vertical stream. I'll see you on the streets of Phoenix with my phone. Vertical style on the Dynasty channel. Unless news breaks on the main channel here that you're watching right now, I'll see you all later. Thank you to my super chatters tonight. Thank you, Rick Moore dropping a 20. Skyward dropping a 10. Rockout dropping a 2. Coble dropping a 2. And Zachary dropping the 5. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the celebratory messages. I think we had the 1 tonight. That message is Isaac. We also had Andrew dropping a celebratory message, 10 months. He says, I hope the Cardinals have a better year this year. Andrew, they will. I believe they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. And then Isaac, appreciate you to asking the H-Chan question. Andrew, you still here? Hopefully you heard my response. Appreciate you, my man. And I'll see you all tonight on the Dynasty channel. Thank you to my moderators, Sick Nasty, Space Ricky, Travis, who else is in here of my moderators? Appreciate you all being in the building here. Appreciate Isaac being in here. Appreciate Rob calling in from Hawaii. Rob, appreciate you. Tebow to the moon. Coble to the moon. Prime to the moon. Eric, appreciate you. Sick Nasty, as I said. Ray G to the moon. Ray G's a unicorn if you didn't know that. Sick Nasty, appreciate you moderating. Zachary, again, you're the man, the myth, the legend. John, appreciate you. The other Zach, appreciate you with the purple emoji. Robert Hunt, you're the man. Travis to the moon. Holland, thanks again. Brandon, you're the man. I'm on the clock in the draft. Who is available? JT's available. I'm going to go JT. I have no JT shares. Let's go JT. Deuces.
He's Kyren, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Don't worry, Zachary's trying to get in this draft. We're going to do one of these. We'll drop like one every night or so. Okay? They're $3 too. It's not a big deal. So we'll try and drop one every night or so. We might not draft them all live. We'll just draft it offline. Appreciate you all. See you tonight on the Dynasty channel, youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. Links in the description. Make sure you're subbed up. I'm live when big news breaks on this channel, and I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. See you all later. Deuces.